each and every topic in detail, and if you want to create your own workflow by using this, it will help you. Definitely we'll discuss about the advantage of and the one demo session or practical session. So before starting with the RE framework and how it works, let's understand the business process, which all business processes are involved and required in industry. So as you can see here, there are three business steps are available or processes are available, which we are using in daily to daily life. Like if uh, we want to provide a one input and want the response of same input, that is going to be called as a linear process. So as you can see here, this image will show you you are ingesting one input or providing a one input to your actionable items, where the actions are nothing but your programs or logic which you have built it, and based on that you will get the response. The response, it will show us the output, and result is as per your designed or developed content. So linear process is always giving one by one input, means one request, one response in terms of API language. But if you are considering as a um, real life scenario, just like you have given or interviewed or appeared for UiPath foundation level training, and at the end of training you'll definitely get a certificate of foundation level training. So this is a one by one. If you appear for the solution architect, definitely you will get a certificate for the solution architect. So this process is called as linear process, which we are using from onset of time in every organization. And nowadays the process becomes more iterative or more complex. So performing these type of complex iteration, or when we want to enter one's input and which is going to be in the iterative or looping format. So in this image you can find it out. This is the process or iterative process where we have provided some set of input, and unless and until that condition is satisfied, is continuing to be looped in. So just like if you want to print number 1 to 10, where you have provided initial number and end number, or the final number which you want to print it. So unless and until the condition is satisfied, it is continuing to be print, and that is working inside the loop. But what happens if you have entered something wrong or some wrong data within it? Just like in place of number, if you have added alphabets, then your process is definitely going to fail and you won't get any response. Unless and until getting any response, you will get an error message here, and that process will be killed at that point. So it will not execute the further point of action. Here we are talking about the loop concept, but it is not always true for working in programming. This will also true, just like take an example of HR process. So once HR process a visit to the Naukri.com or any other hiring portal where they are searching for any candidates, but if they will search with some parameters, and that some parameters has listed the number of candidates, but after reviewing their profile, if they found this is not valid, they won't going to be stopped there. So if we consider the logic in terms of our RPA journey or in the coding background, and we have coded in such a format where first point is giving a error message, then definitely it going not going to be covered for the second. So overcoming of this process is a process of transitional process, where each and every condition is response, or each and every condition is checked unless and until the whole process is completed. Just like take an example of same HR processes, where the first time HR team has searched with the programming knowledge, just like Python or UiPath or RPA, and after entering these keywords, they have found list of candidates where all the candidates profiles are not matching with their requirement. Then what happened? They will search with other keywords. So it means it will execute one by one. So first run, if they will not found, they will definitely get some response in terms of out. Otherwise, if they will get an error message, then also they are trying with some other keywords. Or so same logic we're trying to build in UiPath as well in the name of reframework, or you can call as robotic enterprise framework, where the possibility of using this framework in, so it means once you have built your framework architecture, you can use it at any point of time and whenever it is required. So let's understand what is the architecture or robotics enterprise framework looks like that. So first of all, what is robotics enterprise framework, which is developed by UiPath, and how it benefits us? So RE framework is a template within UiPath Studio built using state machine layout. At a high level, it provides an excellent exception handling. So we have already learned in some other programming language and saw that try, catch, and finally blocks are available. So in, if we are taking any other framework or any other sequence or flow chart, we are not able to get it, try and catch block unless and until we are dragging and dropping that activities. But RE framework has created, or the benefit of RE framework has provided us a one template where we can use it each and every concept in detail. So just like you can see the architecture, it is showing with the initialization, get transaction data, process transaction, end process, and there's several transactions or transitions are related with each other. We'll definitely cover each and everything in detail. So let's understand the basic concept, then we will move it to the further point. So what is that exception handling is already inbuilt in this. So at any point of time, if we found any error or issue, it will definitely going to be recovered. So application recovery and the ability to stop the process where continuing to run the bot does more harm than good. So just like if uh, our system fails while running our UiPath code, then what happens? We need to close the application or restart it again, or we have observed any network issue or any other system related issue, then without killing that application, it will run and process or reach the till the execution point. So Read Framework enables us to put the external settings in configuration file, which I will show you in the latter part of the session, and orchestrator assets instead of hard coding settings like shared network path, location, or credential within script. So Read Framework is a process independent. Any type of process can be built, tested, and run, irrespective of it being attended or unattended, and regardless of the process data type and the application we are automating. So what Reframework provides us is simplicity and ease when automating with event logging or exceptions and logging around other relevant transactions information. It also sends us those logs whenever is required. So that is also required for your configuration or logic setting. But if you found any failure in between your program, it will definitely provide you a log which you can analyze and try to fix your issue. So
Deepak, can you put it in slide mode, presentation mode?
I think it's already shared. Let me
You are.
check.
I can see only your PPT, nothing else.
No, now I'm showing the PPT only. After that, I will move to the.
So put it in presentation mode.
Now you're able to see my screen.
Yeah, we are seeing a studio.
Okay. So once again,
Now we can see.
Deepak, can you go to slides tab? or press F5.
F5.
That's okay. Can you go to slideshow tab next to animations?
Okay, you want me complete slideshow, right? One second.
Yeah. Just start the slideshow. Yeah, now it's perfect.
So let's understand how does it work in detail. So as we have seen in the architecture part where four states are available. So these all are states: initialize process, get transaction data, process transaction, and end process. Let's see these things in UiPath. So for launching this screen, just have to go to your home, and from here, uh, from this is the template. You can see here new from template. So just click on robotic enterprise framework and enter the name of your project, and you're able to say this screen. So let's understand the basics of this and what all components are available. So as you can see here, there is a start node, and after that the initialization, get transaction data, end process, and finally process transaction. So these all are called as states. It means we are having four states in RE framework where all the configuration or program or coding is done in between each and every framework, and every state is having their own speciality where we can declare the data or configure the file or some other processes we can do that. So you can also see that this is this transaction which is moving from one state to other. So let's understand each and every transaction. After that, we will go inside of each and every steps. So here in first transition, you can see there the two separate transition here. It means there's a two transition, one for the system error or system exceptions. Just like your data is not correct, or your system is not working properly, or you're getting some exceptions while in network or orchestration. So these all are recorded under system exception. Second transition is also successful where you have provided the right data or it is collected correct data from the configuration file and sent to get transaction data, and the process will continue to execute unless and until it will show up as a result. So these two states are covered. Now this is the third state transition and fourth one. So where you can see if uh, continuous loop is completed and there is no more data is available, it will end the process. So this will send the notification to end process. And fourth transition is new transaction, where you found in between you will found the dynamic data or coded data which is available after executing first step. New transition or new code is available, definitely this will process as a new transaction. So you can see here 2 year and 2 transition year, it means 4. Now you can see here uh, business exception and success. So these are the two separate transition. Business exception, like if you build any business logic, just take an example of HR process, which where we have automated set of instruction of onboarding process, and uh, over there if we have committed to enter if we have committed for candidates to upload their experience certificate, and if that person is not submitted that experience certificate even though he is having or he is showing some experience from this some other organization, then what happened if he will not upload, he is not allowed to move to the further process. It will show up an business exception because we have built in logic unless and until the candidates will not provide us the data, it will not proceed to the further steps. And the same process, if he or she uploaded the documents, it will show us a success message. Again, there is a section system exception. So it means After this transaction, if system found any error, it will throw up an error message. So now 4 plus 3, it means in RE framework we have 7 transitions and 4 states. So once you will create this project, it will create a folder structure, or this is my folder structure of RE framework. You can find it normally. It is available in documents, but it's totally up to you where you have installed your UiPath. Over there, you can select your project which you have created for the RE framework. Once you select this, you are able to see these folder structures are available. So these folder structures definitely having some meanings and some insight about this. Otherwise, it will not create it for you. If you can see for this some normal project where these all folders are not available, if you need, you have to create it. But RE framework is designed in a such a way you can find each and every detail in these folder. So as you can see here, there is the entities normally it is just introduced, because of that there is a no data. So these all are related to the system settings and everything. Basically from data to other folder are our or developer perspective, where you can get each and every data. So just like if you open the data, you can find it out config file. So let me show you the config file. So once you open the config file, you're able to see 3 sheets are here. First sheet is basically for orchestrator queue name, login information, or business process name, which you are going to declare it here. So these data are already available by default from the UiPath, but if you want to modify at any point of time, you can do that. It's totally related, or it's totally dependent to your requirement which you are going to build in your sequence or flow. So this will help you to get or extract the data from system which you have declared here. Now you can see here constraints. So just like we are using in several activities, some delays time, or some transaction time delay, or there's several exceptions also we are declaring if we are integrating with any application, and we have to declare the delays time in seconds, just like we are declaring over there. You can also define it here as well. Max retry number, it means you have to provide your value here. Now it's showing 0. So just like if you're heading to the server, or you can take an example of AWS. When you want to get or collect the data from AWS to UiPath, you have to in the server session we have some maximum limit of retry, and that limit is dependent on the number of value which is defined at the background in between the code. But we can also define it here. So just like if AWS defined the server maximum try limit up to 200, so unless and until it will hit for 200 times, it will not give you an error message if it is not proper. So you can minimize that to here. Or if you are working with some other application where you can find there is a no, not having a maximum number of try, you can enter the value here. So just like 5, 10, or it's totally up to your depend requirement, and what you want to build and how you want to collect the max retry number. Then screenshots folder path, you can provide the screenshot folder path here. So whatever logic you are declaring here, based on this logic, it will run your process. As of now, assets is not going to be, but definitely you can change it according to your requirement. You can code it. So whenever you want to use it, you can. Otherwise, now it's idle state, and we have no default value provided by the UiPath. So this is the input and output folder where you want to store it, and the folder and path location is already set by the reframework template. So documentation. So these all documentations are available. If you want to refer it, this is provided by the UiPath team, where you can get each and everything is detailed about reframework, uh, about the folder structure as well, exception screenshots. So whatever exception is declared in init state or any other states, that screenshot will be captured unless, whenever there is an error occurred and stored into this folder. It is not mandate or recommended to use this folder. You can change it according to your requirement as well. You can create your own folder, provide the path location, and give it to your in between your codes. Next is a framework. So these all processes are already built for the development ease, just like close all application. These all application or process flow which we can use it in between our codes. Uh, this will gives you simplicity of code, and at any point of time you can use it in between, like take screenshot, sets transaction state. These all our processes are already built and integrated with your RE framework test. So here all run all test, and these are logging mechanism and text workflow template. These all templates are available, and this is our main project which we, if you want to launch it, this is a JSON file as normal or usual like other programming. So now let's understand each and every steps in detail. So once you double click on initialization steps, it will show you some coding. So don't worry about that. It's basically created for complex programming. You can use it, otherwise you can comment it out. I know when you open this file, you will find some difficulty how much code is there and how we'll understand these all. So we'll cover each and everything here. So just like in initialization steps, if we are talking about how about it is working and how it will handle. So in this state, we are initializing all the settings and the application required before the bot starts working on the business end of the process, just like the login credentials or system error. So these all are exception will be handled. So initially, if you launch this application or code it, it won't throw any error message because it was initially started. So in the beginning, definitely you won't find any error message. So because of that, you can see here assign system exception, and system exception will show a nothing error here. So at any point of time, if you want to code it, these exceptions are provided if any error occurs, but you can handle it. Sorry, system can handle it accordingly. After that, it will collect the data from our config file and execute according to our code. So invoke initial all application. So whenever you are opening this type of workflow, it will invoke whatever processes or application or background application is created in between these folder. Sorry, in these folder. See, it will invoke. So you don't need to write each and every code in detail because it was already built by the UiPath team. Then initialize steps also gives us the benefit for at the time of SAP automation or mobile automation or any other big framework which we are using. So in SAP automation, when we are launching a SAP application, we need to provide user ID and password, that is called as credential. So you can define it into your Excel sheet. It will collect from the config Excel sheet and show it to in your code. So UiPath 3 framework is built in a way so that we can initialize all the application necessary here in the init state, and if the condition we build are met, the bot will then move forward with processing the transaction. Otherwise, it will jump to end process. So invoking for any invoke code or process, if you want to invoke it, you can. Next is exceptions. So in exceptions, you can find it out, catch and finally block is here. So whenever there is any exceptions occur, it will throw or solve it by their own. So if you want to provide an exit criteria, you can select it from here. Transition is basically showing successful destination would transmit it to get transaction data, and if it will throw an error or any failure is occur, it will jump to end process. So this is the process. These two transition it was talking at the end. So let's move to the get transaction data and see how it looks and what is the input or what is the advantage of getting transaction data. So once the bot has successfully initialized, as we have seen in the init state, the application it requires for a process, it will then look if there are any transaction item in the orchestrator queue to process. The bot will then process the item in the queue one by one, monitoring the queue. So in the beginning of slide, when we have saw that no, it is executed one by one each and every step, and once all the processes are completed, then only it will quit. So same logic is working here. If there is a no more item to process, the bot is then going to end the process and close all the application. So as you can see here in the framework, close all application are mentioned here. So if you want after execution of this step, if you want to close all your application, it will already define here or invoke your close activity here. So once you'll click on this process as well, you will find different invoke activities are available here, which is already used. So these are already defined. So let me expand this. See here, sorry. In the workflow in import arguments, you can see here 7 import arguments are here. It was already declared, but if we want to see the variable, these variables are auto created by this framework. You don't need to create it again. You just have to declare your logic in between the codes and provide the settings, and after providing the setting you will find or you will found this will execute as per your requirement. So at the end this is also showing the transition. If the transaction is successful, it will move to the process transaction, and if it will not found and further data, it will send to the end process. So whenever we are talking about each and every activity, there is some meaning and some configuration settings are already done. So just like transaction item. So if it will not found anything, it is declared here nothing, and because of this, it will return to end state. Now, third process transaction state is basically used for all the process specific workflows are invoked, going back to our example of attaching document in any application. So let's consider same example of SAP automation. When the bot has now initialized the SAP application, got this transaction data from the queue, and the bot should now upload the attachment to the SAP. So here in the process step, all the activities to attach the documents are invoked. So just take an example of a same SAP application in GUI where we want to capture the invoice information, and we have the invoice ID. So we want to collect each and every detail about the same invoice. So bot will enter invoice number. After entering the invoice number, it will search for the data, and when all the data is available about like vendor information or the payment detail and when it is initiated and when it was closed or still in the progress, these all data will be collected and send it to the end steps. So let's open this process. So now you can see here, the process current transaction is basically showing the business exception where we have seen that transition where business exception is occur, it will show up a nothing code declared and return back to end process, or it return back to previous process. and definitely it is also handling finally and catch block. So as we have seen in the beginning of the slides where I I mentioned exception handling is well covered in RE framework, but in other program when you are building logic from the initial, it won't be possible to cover each and every steps in detail and exception about that. So now the last state is end state. So end state is also having some logic, like if the system error occur, it is also handling try and catch block where you can found any system related information. Just take an example here. Just like we have sent the information to the Excel application from the process state, from the process business step, when all the information is collected from the SAP application and send the same information to the end process to enter the data in Excel file. And while opening the Excel file, if Excel is not opening, then definitely there would be a system error, right? So that time it should throw an error message, and that error message should be handled in the end process. So this is about basics of each and every state in detail. Let's move to our slides. So let's understand the advantages of using RE framework. So you can see here the different advantages are available, like logging. It will show up in the exception login mechanism to monitor the process and error handling. Second is scalability, ability to retry a failed transaction, multiple items, and send exception notification, so, which we are declaring in our config file. Then consistency. So consistency is having variable assets and orchestrated sessions are consistent across RE framework and will be easy to understand, and the code standards all allow for more painless handover to a different developer. So just like if uh, in any project multiple developers are working, one person is doing their own functionality and delivering to the second developer. So it might be happen in normal code scenario, it might be happen the second developer will not understand the logic, but if we are working with RE framework, second developer can immediately pick that process and do that needful and send it to the next person or next developer. So reusability is definitely going to cover in your RE framework, where each and every process are reused several or multiple times whenever it is required. Error handling, it was covered beautifully in each and every step, where business and system, both the errors were handled here. Screenshots are also managed, but while taking any screenshot, if any error occurs, ReFramework has the functionality to take a screenshot of the screens at the point where it failed, which is useful in unattended automation overall troubleshooting. So after that, hand it over to Nisar, where he can explain you with one example. Over to you, Nisar.
Thank you so much, Deepak. That was really very informative. So, as Deepak has mentioned, let's quickly go ahead and build a solution using RE framework for, for integration of UiPath and NASA. As we have very less time, I wouldn't be able to complete the build of bot within this half an hour. So I will just navigate you through the workflow, and then I will show you where you can get the workflow and you can try this workflow hands-on from the Git link. Okay. So let's get started first of all with the RE framework. So as you can see on my screen, this is the same template which Deepak has shown you and explained you about RE framework. Now in this framework, what I have done, so let's say I have some input data. Let us navigate to the input folder. The input data is nothing but multiple dates, okay, in a very specific format, which is y. I can say y, and dd. This is the specific format which is being followed in these dates. Now there is one more field which is HD. Now HD is about the image quality, whether it is going to be true or not. Now let's look at what is the use case that we are looking at. So what we want to do is, for these particular dates, we want to capture the apod. Now you will ask me, what is apod? Apod is nothing but astronomy picture of the day. Now this information we can get on NASA's website. Yes, you heard me right. So let's go ahead and let's navigate to NASA's OpenAPI website. Now, as you can see here, NASA's OpenAPI website is api.nasa.gov, where you can simply click on Get Started, enter your name. Let's say I enter my name, Nisarg Kadam, email. Let's say I give my email address too. And application URL is not mandatory. And if I say sign up, I can generate my own key, API key, and I can use it for capturing all these details which are mentioned here, where we can use astronomy picture of the day, near Earth object. You know, there are so many APIs which are open sourced by NASA and we can leverage them. Now, out of this, we are going to look at today astronomy picture of the day. So what does this API do? This API captures the astronomy picture of the day for a specific day, and you can get that information via API. Now, as you can see here, this is the API. Now, if you might have learned how to use API automation in UiPath, where Priyanka taught you about it, so you know we can use HTTP request and we can fetch any API or any REST APIs we can automate in RPA. Now let's go ahead and let's try to automate and capture the astronomy picture of the day for the specific dates which we have in our input data. So for that, what we are going to do, first of all, we have generated this API key. So we will copy this API key. Now in RE framework, all you have to do is simply click on home. You just need to click on Robotic Enterprise Framework and you will get a blank template like this. In this template, what you have to do, first of all, we have to upload this all data which we have as input to our orchestrator queue. So what we will do, let's navigate to initialization. Now in the initialization, if you check here, the very first thing we see is if first run and read local configuration. So after all configurations are being read in the init all settings, after the orchestrator queue name is defined, and after all the initial instances are being killed, we will read the PDF file and create and store the data into a data table called as InfoDT. Now what we will do, this InfoDT data table, we will pass into orchestrator queue. Now which queue we need to pass the data to? So let's navigate to the project folder location, navigate to the data and configuration file. Now, as you have seen and as Deepak have explained you, orchestrator queue, here is the queue name. So what you need to do is you need to create the same, with the same name, you need to create one queue in your orchestrator. So let's navigate to the orchestrator and let's delete this earlier available queue and we will create one more queue here. So let's say click on plus and we will create a queue. Let me navigate back to the Excel, copy this value, print it here and say add. So this is our queue which we have created, which is blank right now. Okay. Now, once you create a queue, this is the name which we use inside workflow. So we will copy this and we will navigate to workflow, and here we will take one activity which is called as add bulk queue item activity. Okay. So what happens in the bulk queue item? We can add data table directly to queue. So I have dragged an add bulk queue item where in input I am passing the name which is InfoDT from this read range, and then it is getting stored in the orchestrator queue name, which is nothing but process ABC queue. Now once this is processed, what will happen? In the initialization, we are passing this entire data from read range to queue, and that's it. Now we don't have to do anything. Now you can see how can we leverage RE framework in such a great way, because RE framework will now get that queue to the get transaction data automatically. You don't have to change anything. You don't have to manipulate anything in the get transaction data. You directly have to jump into process. It's because RE framework is going to give you each and every transaction from that queue one by one into process transaction. Now, what do we want to do one by one in the process transaction? So let's navigate to the process. In the process transaction, what we will do from the transaction item. So here in the process, we will have in transaction item. What we are going to do is, in the process, we will pass in transaction number dot specific content date in a variable called as date variable. Now, why I am saying specific content dot date is because when this queue will be uploaded, that queue will be stored in the orchestrator queue in a format of our input data, which is nothing but date and HD, which are going to be two parameters which will be stored. Now, how can we leverage those parameters? So we will come back to UiPath and we will say in transaction number dot specific content date to string, we are storing it in a variable called as date var. Similarly, we will fetch from the transaction HD. Now in the process block, we are going to get only one by one single transaction. We are not going to get all the transactions from queue. So you need to operate on this one based on single transaction. So from one queue item, we pulled date variable HD. And now what I did is I copied that URL or API key, which I generated from NASA, and I gave it in a variable called as API key. And that's it. Now all we need to do is hit the API. So to hit the API, I used UiPath's HTTP request activity, which comes with the package of UiPath.web.activities. Now, once you install this particular package, what you need to do, you need to drag HTTP request activity here, which will work with API as you have learned in the third session. You can see here, you need to write your endpoint right here. Acceptance format will be JSON. Now, how do we write our endpoint? Now, what we need is, we need API key, which date we need this particular apport to work for, and the HD value. So we will write our API endpoint in this format, which is going to be as similar as mentioned on the NASA's open API. So let's navigate to astronomy picture of the day. And here you can see the demonstration query they have displayed and what are the parameters that you can use in this particular API. So one of the parameter is date, another parameter is HD, and the third parameter is nothing but API key. So similarly, we have used here API along with the date parameter, which we are taking from the queue item, HD parameter, which also we are capturing from the queue item, and API key is always going to be constant. I hope you are clear to this point. Now, once we create such API, what we are going to do is we are going to receive response in JSON format, right? So that will be stored in JSON output, which is going to be a string variable. Then once I get that JSON output, I'm going to deserialize it and create a JSON variable, which is going to be a JSON object. Now, what that JSON object will contain. So let me show you what that JSON object will contain. If you look at it, this JSON object will contain data and information in format of this, as you can see on screen, where there will be copyright, date, explanation, HD URL, media, service version, title, and URL. And this URL, we want to download this image and store it in our local folder, because this is going to be the URL for the specific date which we are going to capture. Also, you can get the explanation of this particular image, what this image is all about. Now, once we have this information in a JSON format, we need to create this information in a similar Excel format, which I have printed or which I have showed right now. So to get this data from JSON to Excel, what we need to do, let's navigate back to UiPath. What we will do is we'll simply build a data table where we will have no information. We'll just create two columns, type and value. We will create it as a data table called as NASA DT. Now we have our JSON object, which is JSON var. So what we will do is, for each element in the JSON object, we will first of all check whether HD URL or title is contained. If HD URL or title is contained, what we will do in this particular item, we will use string array values and we will split the particular item with the comma separated. Now, what exactly is happening here, I'll tell you. So here we are capturing the JSON file. Wherever in JSON there is colon, that means it is in a key and pair value. So we need to just separate it and store it into array of strings, say it as values, which will be comma separated, sorry, colon separated, as you can see on screen. And if this elements does not contain, then we will simply split only where there is colon. Now, once we separate these details, we will simply pass this both details in our table, which is nothing but the NASA DT. So what we will do, we will pass this data in our NASA DT using add data row. How I'm passing? So the input data is NASA DT and the array I'm passing is nothing but value 0, value 1. So how do we write array? Array of 0, that means the first index of array. Array of 1, that means the second index of array. And I'm passing both of these values in the data table here. And once I have my entire data table, when for each loop will be traversed, I will write that value into Excel file, where I will follow it with a date var, is because I need to create multiple files as we have multiple dates. Also, I will check add address option. Now till this point, what is going to happen is that we are going to hit NASA Open API for astronomy picture of the day, from where we are going to capture all the response received in JSON format and store that response in an Excel format in the output folder. Okay. Now, once we store all this information in output folder, which is right here in this format, we need to go ahead and hit the API, which is on 9th column, sorry, 9th row. So sometimes it could be on 9th or it could be on 8th row, depending upon the information received from the JSON response. Now to tackle this issue that URL might be on 8th or 9th row, what we will do is, we will simply, so I'll just close this one. We will simply read the cell value from B4, which is going to be the explanation. Now we will read information from B9, which is the image URL. Now, if there is no information in B9, what we will do, if image URL is blank, we will read the same information from cell number B8. And at the same moment, what we will do is we will capture that value in the exception. And if exception is thrown, still, if B9 cell does not contain the value, we will capture the value from cell number B8. Now, once we have this information, read cell will read only the particular cell, which is B8. Now, why I'm focusing on B8 is because this information will be stored in B column. Let me open the Excel. In the B column, where this will be either in B9 or will be in B8, depending upon the data received from the Excel. Now, what we are going to do, once we get that image URL, as you can see on screen, the image URL contains double quotations. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to, image URL is a string dot replace those double quotations with blank. Now, once we have the URL, we will print it for our purpose, and then we will hit the URL again with one more HTTP request. And this time, this URL will be stored. I mean, we are going to use get method. Image URL is nothing but our URL, and we are going to store it using the parameter of resource path, where I have given path of the folder for the output, followed by date var, and the image will be stored with the name of apod.jpg along with the date and time that is being displayed. And that's all about it. Now, this entire process will execute for single transaction, and the same process will be repeated continuously for all the transactions which are in an input folder. So if I go back, and once all the transactions are completed, in the get transaction data, what is the logic written? So if there is transaction item is nothing, what happens? So let's check here. If the transaction item is nothing, no data, it will navigate to end process. And end process will kill all the processes and will stop the workflow. Now, as we have gone through and seen the entire build of this small workflow, now let's see how RE framework takes care of this automation. So let's run the RE framework that we have built. And before I execute it, let me just delete all the files in output folder. And also we need to check the input data. So input data contains 5. That is correct. Let us go ahead and check the queue. Queue is blank, as you can see here. It has no transaction items added in the queue. And let's make sure that our studio is connected to Orchestrator. So yes, we are connected to Orchestrator. Now let's go ahead and let's execute this bot from start. So I will say run. Now, as soon as I say run, let's refresh the queue and say view transactions. So as you can see, there are 5 queue items added. The first one is in progress. It is successful. Now second one is in progress. That is also successful. Now the third one is in progress. Refresh the queue items. This one is retried, maybe some error, and the bot has stopped. Now let's go ahead and let's see why bot stopped execution. So let's go to output, and as you can see here, there was object reference exception, some date issue, because the screenshot dot, there's a dot in between the date var. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's check the data. We'll minimize it. Let's open the folder, check the input. So what we had 5 transactions here. Let's navigate to output folder. And as you can see here, once the bot has completed execution, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Excel files have been generated with the JSON information. And there was error in the 5th one due to some date and time format. However, let's check the output format which we have got. So we have got all the APIs, all the JSON responses for each and every date. And let's look at the pictures for those particular dates. So I will open first picture for 23rd of May. So this is the picture which was downloaded from NASA's Open API. And this is for 23rd of May 2020. So let's look at the Excel file relevant to that, which is this one. Now this particular image, you can get the explanation here. This image is all about, and you can see all the information here written, right? And also you can get the URL link for HD and URL link for non-HD, which we have used the BNN, which is the non-HD URL, okay? So we'll close this one. And you can also see the image downloaded for 20th of March, let's say. So this is the different image that you can see, which was uploaded to Astronomy Picture of the Day. Similarly, for 12th of February, you have another image. And for 25th of May, you have this image. Isn't this wonderful? So we are using RE framework, and I was able to explain you the code within only 20 minutes of how can you use RE framework to write such a beautiful code where you don't even have to handle the exceptions because those are being handled. Don't even have to handle all the logic of the workflow because the flow is already defined. You just need to make sure that what you give as an input, you write it in initialization. Get transaction data will handle the part of giving one by one each transaction to process, and then process transaction will go ahead and process each and every transaction further as you define and complete the workflow. Now, if you're really interested in this workflow and if you liked it, you want to get it hands-on, you want to develop it, make sure that I have posted it on my Git channel. So you can download it from my Git repository. I will post it in the chat section. So those who are interested can go ahead and download it from Git, and you can let me know whether you were able to crack the same. Now go ahead and explore. There are more APIs in NASA's Open API where you can use UiPath API feature and you can build some wonderful automation projects. So thank you so much for watching this one, and let me know if you guys have any questions in chat.
You guys can also unmute and ask question.
So I can see we have a question from Bala Nirmal. Instead of queue, can we use data table? Yes, we can. You just have to make sure that everywhere, wherever there is queue and transaction item, for queue, you have to replace it by data table, and transaction item, you have to replace it by data row. Because for a data table, each transaction is going to be row. It's not only about queue and data table. You can use many of the collection items as transaction data table. Sorry, as the transaction data. So do you guys have any question? Please explain about dispatcher performer, Bala Nirmal. Okay. So Bala Nirmal, as you have seen right now in our workflow, which I just executed, when I uploaded the data to queue, that part was dispatcher. So in dispatcher, nothing but means that we first of all collect the information. If that's the case, we need to collect the information or scrape the data table and upload it to some stable data, which we are going to use as a repository. That process is called as dispatcher. And when you take each and every transaction from the data and use it, that is nothing but your performer. So to break it down in our RE framework, initialization is nothing but your dispatcher, and the combination of get transaction data, performer, and end block is your performer. I hope that answers your question. Any more questions, guys? You can unmute yourself. You can ask the question. Yes, somebody was speaking. I have a question from Ramesh. Can you explain about should stop? Should stop activity continuously checks the heartbeat mechanism of your orchestrator. Now, orchestrator, if you have heard about heartbeat mechanism, you can search it on our UiPath's data also, or you can search it on documents of UiPath. You can see heartbeat mechanism continuously sends, just like a ping we send on to check whether we are connected to internet. Similarly, orchestrator sends heartbeat to Studio continuously. So in the heartbeat mechanism, we get response whether we want to stop the workflow or not. So when we stop our workflow from orchestrator, or we can kill, it abruptly stops the workflow. Now, sometimes we don't want it to stop abruptly is because there could be some transaction loss. To avoid that, should stop activity is used, which checks your heartbeat mechanism. If there is a stop activity, you can use fallback mechanism to close your workflow smoothly rather than it stops abruptly. That is why should stop activity is there. That just checks your heartbeat mechanism and gives the response whether yes or no. Yes in terms user wants to kill the process. No in terms user does not want to kill the process. So if you want to create retry in transaction process, that is what the beauty of RE framework is, that you don't have to build a retry mechanism for transaction in RE framework. RE framework automatically retries any transaction which is failed. And that's why maximum retry number is mentioned in the settings file. So if you mention maximum retry number as 2, so even once your transaction is failed, the transaction will be stated as retried in your orchestrator queue and will be tried again, or a new transaction will be created for that particular transaction and will be tried again at the end of the workflow by RE framework. So you don't have to take care about that. You can go ahead and simply check retry transaction workflow activity or workflow within RE framework. And I believe Deepak has shown you there is a documentation in RE framework. You can go through that. That explains a lot about RE framework. which is really a great framework right now available in the RPA market. Exactly. If you use orchestrator, you have to define 0. Also, meanwhile, you ask questions. So I'm really happy to inform you that UiPath has recently launched a hackathon where the nomination dates or registration date, last date is 19th of November. But I believe you guys go ahead, look at the hackathon, and you can see there are 4 different categories where you can go ahead and create projects. And there is also very exciting prizes for each category. There will be 2 winners for each category, and also there will be best innovation winner. So there is a lot to explore, which is going to be the biggest opening of UiPath's 2010 version. So guys, go ahead and do participate in the registration. Register in the hackathon. Okay, Deepak is saying 18th is the registration last date. Yeah, I might have missed that. So 18th November is the last date of registration, but don't wait till last date. Register now and create some wonderful projects in the hackathon.
Yes, exactly. That will help you to understand or whatever you have learned. This will help you to get it implemented in this hackathon series.
Yes, Suresh, you guys can join as a team also. You guys can contribute or participate as a personal individual also. I hope this entire series was really helpful, and we guys were able to help you a lot in terms of learning UiPath RPA from scratch. Thank you so much, guys. And
So,
if you have any question,
yeah, Nisar,
yes,
let's give some more time because this is last session. In case you guys have any other question, please
exactly.
feel free.
Feel free to ask any question from first day. If you have
Yeah,
any question related
and
to
even
it.
after this session, if you have any question, I will say that you go to forum, ask the question. You can search the question because whatever problem you are facing, that probably somebody has already faced that earlier, and you will get the answer over there.
Exactly. Any issues you face, you will get the answer on
Or
forum in a
any
very
specific challenge you want to discuss here, you can discuss.
expecting more trainings on new feature. Definitely, Akhil. So keep following community events.uipath.com and you will see a lot of sessions happening all across the globe every day. Literally, I can't keep track of it.
So Akhil, if you see that, if you are really following a UI path, probably every week or something, there is something new to learn. And what any specific trainings or a specific feature you are talking about? What you want to learn?
Apps.
Okay, for apps, we will have something, one of the meetup very soon. And for the hyper automation is not any specific product, right? So within hyper automation, that concept, you have all the product that is coming. So probably now I will share another link with you so you can go through what hyper automation is. And in the previous meetup in Hyderabad, we did cover most of the things on that.
Any other question from anyone?
Okay, if no question, then we can give you back your 20 minutes.
So there's a question on the chat window from Mobin. Is there any framework for UiPath? So there are a lot of framework and templates which you can use. So whenever you open your studio on the home screen, on the right hand side, there's an option from wherein you can select that whether you want to go with RE framework, you want to go with the process, or you want to go with a specific template like background process, RE framework, process template, and all those. So from there, you can select based on your project, the type of project or the type of template you want to use while creating your project in UiPath.
In addition to this, you can find out the 4 to 5 templates available in the UiPath X. So when you launch the application, you can find it in the Outlook mail and other some frameworks are already created which you can use it.
Perfect. So if we don't have any more questions, guys, let's turn on our camera because this is going to be our last session. So let's take a snap of it. Can everyone please turn on the camera so that we can see all of you? And let's see you guys again. Thank you so much. So let me also turn on my camera. I have a low light. It's really good to see you guys.
Just give 1 more minute, I think. It's not 1 more minute, few seconds, so that others can switch on. Nisarg, you will click the pic. You will take this screenshot.
Yeah, I'm also taking the snap. Okay, a few more people are turning on the cameras. Let me just minimize the participation list. That's wonderful. Perfect. So we have the snaps. Thank you so much all for joining. I hope you guys learned a lot.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Nisarg, Anmol, Deepak, and all our speakers. Thanks for joining. Thanks, Mobin. I think you were regular in all these sessions. You are on mute, Mobin. We still can't hear you.
Yeah, it was a great session for. Yeah, it was a great session for me. So it was really helpful within these 7 sessions.
Great to hear, Mobin. You should also share your experience maybe on the LinkedIn, if it really helped you.
Sure. Of course.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend
Thank you, guys.
after one day.